Hello ladies and gentle ladies, welcome back to another railroad development stream. Today we're going to be continuing on with the Java process builder that we started yesterday. And yeah, I've gone ahead and I basically finished all of the methods we need. So this has become a 2,100 line file, which is kind of insane. But it covers basically all of them. I haven't done any of the deprecated ones, any of the obsolete ones, or any of the removed ones. So at some point, I will have to come back and add those and do version checks and those kind of things. But for the most part, these are going to be the only ones we use anyways, so it's not super important those other ones are added. So we can leave that to a later date. But yeah. I think let's try and, if we can, get something working today. I think that would be nice. I think that's a good goal to have. So, yeah, we don't have anything else to do with this class, though. So I think we can probably move on to a different Java CLI tool today instead of just the general Java one. So I'm quickly going to go ahead and have a look and see if I can find the list of them again and bring that up. And then hopefully we can go from there. So if I look at the list, the next one is Java C. I think that's probably going to be a pretty easy one. I don't imagine there are many arguments that can be on this one. Yeah, I'm looking at the web page for it now. And there are some, but definitely not as many. Yeah, not even anywhere close to the Java one, which is as expected. So I'm going to go to the Java 25 one, actually. And have a look at this. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and copy all of this, because this is basically going to be everything we want. In fact, let's copy all of this. We're not going to need all of that, but I think that's fine. So I'm also going to quickly rename this class as well, because it doesn't really suit what it is. I'm just going to call it the Java CLI builder, I think. It's a little bit confusing because we're saying Java, but really we're talking about the Java executable, not general Java. Maybe we could call it Java executable CLI builder. I think that's a little more descriptive. So we'll give that a second. That's going to take a while because it has to go through all of those methods and it has to change the return type for every single one of them. So that is actually going to take a long time, apparently. Yep, there you go. It has just finished. Okay. We should just check that it did do that successfully. Sometimes IntelliJ seems to just like fail at doing it. I don't know why, but it happens sometimes. Yeah, it seems to have done that all correctly. Okay. So yeah, as I said, the next one is going to be Java C. So that is to compile basically source files into class files. So a pretty simple one, but also extremely powerful. We're going to need this for quite a few things. Now, technically, we don't need to do this one because Java is shipped with the Java compiler, which effectively does this. It kind of just does it. And in fact, you even have here the Java compiler factory. You have Java C compiler factory. You have Java C Java compiler. I mean, these are technically already what we want. So let me quickly just try something here. If we do compiler dot, yeah, so it's kind of debatable about like, do we really want to do this one? I think we will. Yeah, I think let's do this one. Even though it kind of already exists. I think just because there's certain arguments that we might want to have in a more typed-based system that don't exist here. We may come back to it and end up removing that if we find we're not using it, but I think at least for now, or should we skip this one? Actually, I think let's just skip this one. I can't imagine us genuinely wanting to use that, especially since we're having not our own compiler, but we're going to have our own parser and stuff. So for the most part, we're not going to be using that. I think let's just move on to the next one. And the next one is the javadoc command. So I don't see us using this one either, I'll be honest, but I think just for the sake of having it, let's just have it. If I recall correctly, I think there's actually a Gradle task that does this. I don't know where it would be, admittedly, but I think it does exist. Is it in build, maybe? I don't see it. No, documentation? Ah, that does exist. I thought that did exist. So more than likely we'll want to use that, but sometimes we're going to interface with projects that don't have a Gradle nature to them, and in that case we'll probably want this. So let's go ahead and basically just copy this across and just rename this a little bit. So javadoc CLI builder, and that will just take that in like that. And yeah, then we just need to get rid of a couple things. Now, I don't exactly know how the javadoc one works, so I'm going to quickly have to see if I can find this. Okay, this one is significantly shorter, so there isn't... Okay, no, there actually is quite a lot, never mind. The other ones have a lot of documentation at the very bottom of the pages, but this one doesn't actually. It is mostly arguments. Okay. Yeah, because I believe a lot of the javadoc options are basically the same as like Java C. So they're pretty similar. Hello Brammy, welcome to the stream. I hope you do not do that. I would appreciate you not doing that. But welcome to the stream. Yeah, okay, I think this is fine. Now the javadoc command is a little more complex than the other ones because a lot of it... Yeah, so basically I'll bring this up on stream. Here we go. So you can see it functions a little bit different. So with the Java one, for example, it's just Java followed by one argument or one mandatory argument followed by the options. But in this case, it's actually the options, and then afterwards it has package name, source files. So this one's actually a little bit different, which is interesting. So how do we want to do this one then? I guess this is a little more complicated. We can get rid of, okay, we can get rid of launch type as a first pick. That's a good place to start. I think all of the other ones we do want though. Yeah, I would think we want the other ones. Let's get rid of this. We don't want that. Get rid of this. Okay. The primary argument. What is the primary argument of a javadoc command? Does it give an example? Options. So yeah, just command line options. And then that's followed by package names, which is basically the names of the packages that you want to document. Okay. And then the next one is source files. So names of Java source files that you want to document. And then the final one is specified names of files that contain a list of javadoc tool options. Okay. I see. I don't know how important the order is. Yeah, it might not be that important. But basically, we're going to have the arguments, which are going to be the options. Then we're going to have a list of package names, which are going to be strings. So we're actually not going to be able to determine between... Well, I guess maybe we will. So we'll actually just have package names like that, and then we'll have a private final list of string, which will be the source files. Source file paths, and then we're going to have the files, private final list of string, which are going to be the or argument files is what I'm going to call them. Argument file paths, sure, that's reasonable. And then yeah, then let's turn this in of itself, I think, into a builder, maybe? That would be really weird though, wouldn't it, if we had a Java doc CLI builder. So I don't necessarily know that's the best way to do this. How are we going to do this then? I think that is actually probably the best way to do it, which is really weird. If that's the best way, then that's what we're going to do. So, okay, I'm failing at Java right now. This is not good. Okay, so we're going to have a Java doc CLI builder. Sure, that'll work. Honestly, this is kind of just going to take in the JDK. No, this doesn't make sense, does it? I'm just trying to think. This doesn't really make any sense. The only important thing that we have, basically the essential thing, is the JDK. Everything else is somewhat optional. So I think we can actually get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. And that's it. Yeah, we can go from there. And then we'll just create a static method to create it. Let's implement our methods. So add argument, that's going to be that one. Set working directory. Obviously going to do that. That's going to do that. These are not going to be anything special. That's going to do that. That's going to do that. That'll do that. Okay, the run, I'm actually just going to copy paste, I think. So let's find it. For the most part, this is going to be the same. So put you in there. And yeah, basically the only difference is this is going to be actually not necessary because it's just going to be javadoc, or I think javadoc.exe. Though I'm going to check. It might be javadoc.bat. So I'll try and find it. No, it is an exe file. Hello, Agent Cryo. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so yeah, it's just an exe. So this really needs to be a thing we have somewhere so that we can just resolve a name to either have an exe on the end or not. But that's not a thing we have anywhere. Not sure where we would even put it. So yeah, we need to resolve javadoc plus operating system dot is Windows then .exe, and I think this needs to go in brackets or parentheses, I should say. Okay, so that adds all of the arguments. Then it needs to add the package names. Then it needs to add the source files. And then it needs to have the argument files. And everything else is exactly the same. So I will just do this one. This needs to be a Java dot process. But apart from that, that's it. That's all we need. I'm going to make this a constant though, because I think that makes perfect sense to do. So we'll do string executable name is equal to that. We could just do, actually, it would probably be easier if we just did operating system dot is Windows, then that or that. Even though that means we repeat it twice, it's just easier to read. So let's do that. But whilst we're at it, we might as well do that for the Java one as well. I don't know why I didn't do that, to be honest, but... Oh, because it depends on the console being enabled or not. Right, that's correct. Okay. So yeah, we don't want to do that for that one. But for this one, that's perfectly fine. This is never used, apparently. Yes, that's correct, because that is indeed just... Oh, no. Oh. Yeah. We don't need that in the superclass, because that's not a thing for most of them. Let's go to super method, and let's just delete. I don't know if there's an easy way to do this without it breaking absolutely everything. Can I safe delete it? I'll do that. Does that work? Okay, first of all, this needs to take in the executable name. There we go. Did that work? Console. Enable console. And hopefully that is set in a method called enable console. Yes, it is. That's perfect. It shouldn't be private though. I don't know why it's private. That needs to be public. Yes, that is correct. Okay, fantastic. So that's all of the boring stuff. Oh, we just need to get rid of this. Okay. Also don't need that. I don't know if that's even a thing we have to do. So, okay, time to learn how the javadoc command works. So, okay, so if we look at the arguments, it lists all of the standard options. Okay, unfortunately, it doesn't actually say what the standard options do, which isn't extremely helpful. But apparently it just uses the ones in Java C. So, in theory, if I go to... You can't see what I'm doing because it's on my other monitor, but... Okay, I'm trying to figure this out because this is kind of complicated. I think let's just start one by one. So we're going to want, first of all, add modules, which is kind of the usual. Actually, yes, we are going to want these ones first. Thank you, Copilot, for suggesting that. That is actually indeed something we will want. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But admittedly, this needs to be a path, though, not a string. Which means this needs to be paths, and this needs to be paths. But apart from that, that was correct. Path, and then package name is just a string, of course. It doesn't like this because somehow this needs to turn into a string. That'll do. Ideally, we map it to a real path, but probably not too important right now. Okay, more importantly, we need a way to add a module. So java.cli builder, add module. We can do modules, I guess. And then there'll be a string dot 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 modules. And then this is not correct. So we're going to want a modules builder is equal to a new string builder, which will take in dash dash add dash modules. And then I think we just do that. I don't think this is anything complicated. Yes. The other thing we can do is we can do the add module path as well. So, or add all modules. Yeah, like that. So we can also do public javadoc CLI builder, add all modules. And then that just adds all module path. We can even just simplify this a little bit and return... No. Return add modules is what I wanted. And we'll just add that. There we go. So that's a little bit easier to use for that one. Next is the boot class path. I feel like I've definitely done all of these, haven't I, actually? I've done all of them in here. I remember doing the boot class path. Yeah, look, add modules. And I can add a root module. I don't know if I can add a root module with the javadoc one, though. Because root modules has all of these. I am adding all module paths, so I do wonder, does it support this and this? I don't even know what these are, because I don't know anything about modules, but... It doesn't say it does, so I assume it doesn't. Okay, well, I have done the boot class path. I'm sure I did. I vividly remember doing it. Don't know why, but I remember doing it. Aha! I did. Okay, it works a little bit differently, though, unfortunately. But I can probably copy this. And kind of make it work. I mean... Basically, it's dash dash boot dash class dash path. So dash dash boot dash class dash path. Get rid of that. And basically, I think... Oh, interesting. This can only be used when compiling for releases prior to JDK 9. So actually this... Okay, that's interesting. Hello Fortnite, welcome to the stream. I don't know if this is actually correct. Also, it seems to have a space after it. So does that. Wait, did I do that in here? For like the dash dash ones? Interesting. I didn't, but these ones are a little bit different, so maybe that's not necessary. Oh no, I did. I did. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. I don't remember doing that, but apparently I did do that. So, will this work with JDK 8.17.21? It should do. That is the plan. This one won't, because in this one we need to say if jdk.version.major is greater than or equal to 9, then that throws an exception, because basically that's not supported in JDK 9 and above. Yeah, and instead you need to use -- release -- oh no, you need to use -- system, I believe. Yeah. Will this support old Minecraft versions? Railroad is not planning to or at least it's not planning to for the first release, but possibly for future releases we'll consider backporting certain things to get it working for older versions. I mean, in theory, there's no reason why it wouldn't. It's just setting up the project structures for that. So it's possible. It's possible right now, even, but yeah, it just hasn't been quite set up yet. Also, because we're hard coding the JDKs at the moment to 21, so yeah, that technically wouldn't even work. But if we change that, basically everything else would work. That's the only thing that won't work right now. I mean, most of the good mods are on 1.12.2, 1.16.5, 1.21.1. I would say that's mostly true. Yeah. But that's not where most people are developing mods, so you know, you have to decide which you're going to do, basically. I mean, this is targeted more towards developers, so it makes more sense to target developer versions rather than played versions, right? I mean, if you're going to mod older versions, you probably already have the entire tool set that you need. Because, yeah, like you're, you know, I don't know. It's honestly not something we've thought too much about because it's not of utmost importance, I will say. But it's something I guess we can consider later on. I just want to get it working for the latest version first, and then we can look at older stuff. Because obviously if it doesn't work for the latest version, then there's no point even looking at older versions. So that's the way I think about it. We want this one as well. There you go. If the demand is high enough after this comes out, will it be considered? I mean, it already is being considered, right? It's just that, like, it's not out yet. So, yeah. Until it's out, it doesn't really matter if it's being considered or not, because it's not out yet, you know? But yeah, I mean, I'll get back to you about that in 2 years' time, basically, because I don't think this is going to be like, I've been trying to think of what the time scale for Railroad realistically is, because you have to think realistically. I don't see it coming out in the next year. I'll put it like that, right? So I mean, maybe it does, but the holdback is the semantic syntax tree, which I haven't even been working on. So, you know, that's going to be at least a couple months of work. And then when that works, a bunch of systems can then be developed that will go further. But that is the main chunk of work on the entire IDE. So obviously, if someone wants to contribute to the semantic syntax tree, it's all open source, so feel free. Yeah. Yeah, directory. Okay, this isn't anything big. This is, you know, it is what it is. Other thing, this needs to be objects.not-null. Just same with this, objects. Yeah, like that. These should also all have that as well, but we can come back to those because I haven't done that for the other one either. Then we have dash deprecation. I think these ones are going to be pretty self-explanatory, but well, actually, this one isn't that self-explanatory. What does it actually do? Oh, okay, this is just the excellent deprecation option. Okay, so it basically shows all of the deprecated usages and overrides. Okay. Oh, it shows a description of them, so it shows a little more detail. Deprecation descriptions. Enable deprecation descriptions. Okay. Just adds dash deprecated. That's not correct, though. Thank you, Copilot, but not correct. Next is enable preview. Can I copy this one? This one. Yeah, I think that's true here as well. I think that's only Java 12 onwards, I believe. Does it say that, or it doesn't say that, but I think that is the case. Next one is encoding. So encoding, and basically I think this can just take in a string for the encoding. I mean, there is obviously standard, what is it here? So like there's all of these. I guess it could take in, no, not this. I don't think. The other thing. Encoding. What am I thinking of? Maybe that is what I'm thinking of. It actually might be. So it could just take in a char set. Char set. Right, and then char set dots. I don't know if it's the name or the display name. Probably the name, right? What the hell are these comments? What? Okay. So canonical name. Okay, so that's basically that name. And what does it expect? Okay, it does actually expect it in that kind of format. So yeah, and then the name is set to the canonical name. So that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Let me just check though the standard char set. I cannot type today. Don't know why. What's in here? Okay, apparently it allows for more encodings than that though. The docs even specifically mention one that I have never heard of in my entire life. It mentions this one, EUC-JP. I've never heard of that. What is this? Oh, I think it's a Japanese multi-byte character encoding system for representing Japanese text. Ah, okay. That's not a default Java encoding? You'd think it would be, huh? Interesting. In that case, we can take in a string as the encoding, and then what we can do is just have an overload like this. And that just takes in a char set. And then that will just call. Well, yeah, first of all, it will do that, and then it will call that. I think that's fine. Okay, next is the endorsed DIRs. No idea what that is. I'm going to do a quick Google, see if I can find out. It's used to provide an endorsed standards override mechanism, which means a user can provide newer versions of certain packages than those provided by the JDK. What? Why would you ever do this? That's such a random thing. Ugh. Interesting. That's so random. So there's like a couple standard APIs that you can basically upgrade whenever you want. So for example, org.w3c.dom, which has a bunch of stuff in it, right? Yeah. So you could actually upgrade this to be on a newer version than what is shipped by the JDK. That's interesting. Don't know why you would do that. Well, I guess I kind of understand why you would do that, but that's very niche, I feel like. But sure. Let's add that. Endorsed DIRs. Okay, this is multiple directories, I think. So I'll do path. Well, we could do strings and then just create an overload once again, which takes in the paths like that. Okay, next one is extdirs. So overrides location of all installed extensions. Each jar in the specified directories is searched for class files. All jar files found become a part of the class path. You're compiling. Okay. I'm curious because this kind of thing isn't in the Java. Oh, I see, because it's part of Java C. So it's like for compiling stuff. Like, so you compile it with these. Whereas the Java command is just for launching, and so you would already have to have these things. I think I understand. I'm starting to put things together. Okay, so extdirs. Yeah, and then basically same thing again. Will Railroad have support for making your own plugins? Yes, Railroad already has a plugin API. It needs to be rewritten at some point. I was actually thinking of doing that in the next stream, so next Saturday. I was thinking of rewriting the plugin system. Because I want to get rid of the plugin API, because it just causes so many issues. And instead, I want plugins to just have direct access to the Railroad repository. Or the Railroad project. I think that would be great if that's possible. And I don't see why that shouldn't be possible. I mean, think about Minecraft, for example. It does exactly that, right? It just lets you have access to Minecraft. I think we can do a very similar thing. I don't see why not. Because Railroad is obviously open source, so there's no reason why something like that isn't possible. It just makes so many things easier. So that is something I'm definitely going to do at some point. Probably next week. I don't know. We'll see. It kind of depends how well this goes, I suppose. Yeah. There are other kind of more important things as well, so I'll have to weigh it up and see what we decide to do. Okay, the next one is really weird. It's just -G, and apparently that generates all debugging information. Okay. Generates all. That says all comments, but on the docs it says all debugging information. Yeah, that's better. And then there's a similar one which allows you to choose the debugging options. I think we will... Yeah, we'll use an enum for that. So public enum debug info option, and obviously the important one is none as well. And yeah, that just needs to have a private final string, option string, and then a public string as string, which will return option string. This just needs to take in locale.root. So this is specifically for Minecraft modding. Yes, this is specifically for Minecraft modding. That is correct. Raise to a stream, map to as string, reduce. Yep, that's correct. Copilot actually got that correct. I'm impressed. Yeah. Plus commas. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Next is -H, which is for header files. What? This isn't C++. We don't have header files. Oh, it's for native header files. So like when you're writing native code. Interesting. Don't know why that's necessarily... That seems like a weird thing to have, but sure. I guess... Sure. Okay. So header files... is it a directory? Yeah. So when you specify this option, a native header file is generated for each class that contains native methods or that has one or more constants annotated with @native. If the class is part of a package, then the compiler puts the native header file in a subdirectory that reflects the module name, if appropriate, and package name. The directory and any necessary subdirectories will be created if they do not exist. Interesting. Yeah, I think basically this, and then just -H rather than that, and then go to that. I think that's fine. Does it still eat up PC resources when being ran? No, it does not do that anymore, which is great. In fact, I can even show you. Actually, I probably can't because it won't compile. They have errors. We can try, but I think I have errors somewhere. In here, I think. No, I fixed that one. I fixed that. It might actually run. I haven't compiled it today, so it's going to take a minute to compile, but it should run. Yeah, there you go. That's compiled. That's compiled. Now it's running. There you go. And hopefully you should see the stream does not lag whilst I have it open. I'll move left to right and then you can see. Yeah, I'm looking in OBS. It looks fine. Basically, I should probably be checking YouTube, not OBS, though. Okay. Just do that. And then hopefully when YouTube catches up. Yeah, it's fine. My camera frame rate's not great, but apart from that, it works fine. My camera frame rate must be really bad. I can see the the like, what do you call it? No, when it does the thing. But yeah, I mean, this works fine now. If I open Task Manager, I mean, it's not great. There's improvements that can be made, but it's using currently 800 megabytes of RAM, no CPU, 0% CPU, which is much better than it was before, like significantly. Even if I open, I think, the IDE, it shouldn't use that much. I think it's running a few things in the background now, but it should still go back down to nothing when it's done. Yep, there you go. It's got a little bit more RAM because it has to store all of this, right? So that's all data stored. Yes, motion blur. Thank you. That is the word I was looking for. But yeah, I think this is fine. 0% CPU, 1.3 gigs. IntelliJ using 2.1. I don't see us ever getting to a point where it's using 2.1. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of our limitations are, of course, Java, right? So Java has a lot of overhead. Right now, we're also running this within the IDE, so it has to store a bunch of debug information. Or at least IntelliJ, I think, puts debug information into the process or something, because it doesn't use as much RAM when you run it on its own. So it's doing that. Disk usage obviously very low. It's using 0.1 because of the log file, but that's fine. Hopefully at some point as well, we're going to upgrade to Java 25, which means that all of the objects in memory will have, what is it, like a 4-byte header instead of whatever it is now, which is like 32 bytes or something. I think that's the case. Let me try and see if I can Google it. JEP for reduced object headers. Maybe it will come up. Yes, so it reduced the size of object headers on the hotspot JVM from between 96 and 128 down to 64 bits on a 64-bit architecture. No, there's another one. Wait, there's another one. Yes, JEP 519 makes compact object headers a stable production-ready feature and delivering significant memory savings and up to 30% CPU reduction without having to change any code, right? Like, that's pretty major. For some reason, JEP 519 isn't coming up on... found it. There you go. I thought it went down to like 4 bytes, though. I read somewhere. Let me just Google this. See if I can bring this up. I can't find it. It was on somewhere. It said it went down a lot. The point is that should massively reduce the memory usage and CPU usage of Railroad without having to do anything, right? Without having to change any code. That will be major. And that is something I will definitely do at some point. It shouldn't be too bad. In theory, all we should have to do is change... I thought it was in here. Aha, this. In theory, all we should have to do is change that to 25, change that to 25, and then go to here and update this to... I don't know what you update Gradle to for 25. Gradle... if I can find it real quick. But last time I tried this, it didn't work. Here you go, 9.1.0. So in theory, changing this to 9.1.0 and then changing this to 25, I think that's a thing. Trying to find the... If I go to the downloads, it should tell me the latest one for Java 25. 25.0.1. So in theory, doing this, and I think that's it, should hypothetically allow us to use Java 25. But I believe last time I did this, it didn't work. Should we try it? Fuck it, let's give it a go. See what happens. I'm mostly going to have to revert it for this PR because it's unrelated, but let's see. Last time I tried this, it didn't work. It gave me some really friggin' weird errors. It might be, maybe I did something wrong. Let's see what it says, though. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is... Yeah, so the issue is with the shadow plugin, apparently. Ah, that is true. So I think Shadow hasn't been updated to support Gradle 9.1.0. I can have a look. Let's just do a very quick Google, because this isn't really related to what we're doing today. Yeah, so 8.1.1 is actually the latest version of this plugin, and it hasn't been updated to support 9.1. Oh no, it has. It has, apparently. Oh no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Oh, wait. Apparently there's newer versions. 1 second. Aha. We're actually using the old. Aha. Apparently it's now this. And the latest version is 9.2.2. And so hypothetically, this should actually work. It does appear to be working, doesn't it? Yeah, look, even JavaFX 25 is downloading now. I mean, let's see, right? So before, that was 1.3 gigs of RAM, and it was 800, 800 not in the IDE, 1.3 gig in the IDE. We should see that go down. There's no reason why not. So let's just make sure the Java compiler is set to the correct thing, because it might not be. Where is it? Project structure, I think. I'd actually love to use 25. I don't even have 25 downloaded, which is kind of funny. I probably should. Let's quickly do that real quick. I don't want Oracle. I think Oracle's kind of cringe. Let's go with Eclipse Tamarin. I actually want that on my D drive though. Let's see. Okay. Are you gonna... Okay, so that's downloaded. So I should be able to set that as the JDK. And it should just work. Apply. Okay. Okay, it's got to update the indexes, of course, because the JDK is updated. That actually shouldn't stop us from running it, though. I should just quickly check that the Gradle version has updated. It has not, actually. So that needs to be the project JDK. But then if I run it, it should be running as Java 25. I'm going to open Task Manager. Here we go. Okay. Give it a second to boot up. Because it's got to do the Gradle stuff first, of course. Is this actually going to work? Because it's got to recompile all of the class files to be Gov25 class files, right? So that's why it's taken a hot minute. But if this works, that'd be pretty sick. We should see the RAM usage be significantly lower if this works. Okay, I'm kind of concerned that it's higher right now. How is it higher? What is happening? Wait, how is it higher? Wait, okay, one of these... Okay, these can't be... Why are there multiple... Okay, I think I've broken something. Because now there's multiple... Even on this one, there's 3. There should not be 3. I'm pretty sure it's this one, this middle one, which means it's using 230 megabytes. Yeah, because that's the one we're using 3.2% of my GPU, which means that is this one. So actually, it's only using 270. I would assume one of these is the IntelliJ debugger, and one of these is probably the Gradle Damien, both of which wouldn't exist in production, right? So I think it's therefore using 240 megabytes of RAM. If we open the IDE itself, that would, in theory, go up. Let's see. It has, but only a little bit. It's gone up to 347, compared to previously that was, what, 1.3 gigs? Is that right? Kind of think. Does the math add up? The math doesn't add up there, does it? That can't be right. Because it's only meant to be... I'm trying to think. I think that is correct, actually. I think so. I think that is correct. Yeah. Yeah, because if we're going down from... I'm pretty sure it goes down to like 4 bytes or something, right? So, going from like 96 to 4, and then going from 1.3 to 300. I think that the math is mathing. Which is pretty cool. Anyways, I now have to revert all of that and hope I didn't absolutely butcher something in the process. So, what's the easiest way to revert that? Well, we're going to have to undo these. Make sure they're already actually up to date in terms of that. Okay. So, yeah, I just have to undo these. And then I have to delete the build folder. Because otherwise it will say like, oh, you know, this was compiled using a newer version of Java, and it just doesn't like when you do that. And then if I change the project JDK, actually in theory don't have to change this, but I'm going to anyways. Back to 21. I think it's this one. For some reason 2 is newer than 3. I don't know how that happened. But yes, that one. Fly. Okay. Nice. So, if we run it again, I have to reload Gradle again. So now it has to recompile everything. Yeah, that's going to take a minute. Okay, meanwhile that's doing that, let's continue with where we were, I think. Also, I think I've actually just been doing commands or options that don't exist. Yeah, I have. Wait, no, I haven't. Wait, have I? Yeah, I have. This one doesn't exist. This one doesn't exist. This one does exist though, so we can keep that one. But these ones don't. Xdiz does. Endorsed Diz doesn't. So I probably should have checked this, shouldn't I? Those ones don't exist. Preview features, that does exist. Deprecation does not exist. I definitely should have checked this. -D, that does not exist. So class path does, boot class path does, preview features does, encoding does, xdiz does. Okay. The next one is disable line doc comments. That actually also means, whilst I'm at it, that these need to go. Okay. I really should have checked this, shouldn't I? I wasn't really paying attention to what I was actually doing. But yeah, those... There you go. Okay, the next one is disable line doc comments. So I'm going to have to find that. Aha, found it. So what that does is that disables support for documentation comments with lines beginning with ///. ///? That's a thing? That's a thing? Since when is /// a thing? Wait, what does this do? What do you do? What is the point in you? Oh. Oh. I'm mind blown. That's actually kind of crazy. I didn't know you could do /// to get it to show up as a Java doc comment. So interesting. And this will actually get shipped with the Java doc jar or onto the Java docs website if you set that up. That's actually kind of insanely interesting, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't know about that. I've never seen that used. I guess that's probably why I don't know that exists. So disable line doc comment. Okay, so this is not correct. It is -- disable line doc comments. That's it. So that's a nice and simple one. The next one is enable preview encoding xdiz. We've done those. The next one is limit modules. I remember doing that in here, so I'm just going to copy that one across. Yeah, there you go. Lovely. Next one is -- module. I think that's also a thing I did in here. No, apparently not. I don't know what -- module is then. Let me have a look. I don't know. Doesn't actually say. Wait, am I going crazy? No, it actually just doesn't say what -- module is. I mean, it kind of does. So it says when compiling code for modules, you can specify source files indirectly by using -- module or -m option. Oh, maybe it's -m. Wait, let me look for -m. Nope. Nope. Interesting. Okay. Well, either way. Oh, wait, I can link to it. Oh, yeah, I found it. I found it. I was blind. Okay, so public add module. So it's just a name. Add module name. String module name, and then that just does dash module plus name. But it can be multiple, so you can add module names. Then module names cannot be null, and then string.join by comma. Boom. Okay. The next is, let's have a look. It was something else to do with modules. Module path, and then there's module source as well. Okay. So module path, basically kind of the same thing. Add module path, which takes in a path. Now, is that correct? I don't know if that's correct. I'm gonna have a... Oh, that's in here. I'll add that then. Lovely. Module path. And that just needs to return this. Okay, I don't know if maybe that needs to have an overload that accepts. Yeah, apparently it does. Good to know. Okay, the next one is module source path. So I think that's basically exactly the same. Like, exactly the same. Module source path. Like that. Nice. Okay, the next one is dash release. Try and find out what that does. So dash release compiles source code according to the rules of the Java programming language for the specified Java SE release, generating class files which target that release. Oh, so you can choose a specific release? But why wouldn't you just use the JDK for that release? Why would you? Okay. When using release to specify a release that supports the Java platform module system, the add exports option cannot be used during... Okay, that's fine. Okay. Weird, but fine. So... Okay, then we got release... version, I guess. That's fine. Then we have source, which I think is basically the same thing, but for the source version. I assume there's source and also target. Is that correct? Yes, there is. So if I do public java doc, sure, I guess that's also a thing. And then you've got source. Then you have, hopefully, yeah, targets. I don't know that dash target is correct, though. I thought it was dash target. Oh, target actually doesn't exist. I guess that makes sense because this is for Java docs, right? So that makes sense. Okay. I'm also... no, we'll keep it. No, let's use double. Otherwise, that's weird. Okay. Java doc. Oh god, stop it. Okay, the next one is source path, which, yeah, basically that one again. So that's fine. The next one is dash system. I don't know what this one is. I can't even think of what this one could be. You can supply a JDK? Overrides the location of system modules. What? Wait, so you can run it with a specific JDK, right? Of course, because you're choosing the specific exe to run. But then you can also choose, whilst running that command, for it to run that command with a different JDK. Why would you ever do that? That is the weirdest thing I've ever friggin' heard. Like, why would you do that? Okay, whatever. So system. JDK. I guess that would just take in a JDK, right? Yeah, that basically. I don't know why that's a thing, but whatever. By chance, did you have to change that one plugin or thing used back to the other version? Do you mean this? If so, I didn't have to change this back, I don't think, but the change is also not relevant to the PR I'm working on, so hence I did change it back. But I will probably update it in the main repo at some point. Probably once I've merged run configs, because I update the build.gradle in that one. So it would break things if I changed it before then. Okay, the final one is upgrade module path. I think that's also, yeah, that is indeed a thing in here. I remember that one. Don't know why. And weird things you remember, but that is one of the ones. Doesn't this also need to have an overload? Yes, it does. I thought so. Okay, so that is all of the standard Java C options, but there are a lot of others. And when I say a lot of others, I mean probably about 100. So I'm going to try and do this. This should be a little bit faster doing these ones. I'll show you guys real quick, I suppose. So we've just done all of these ones. So now we have to do all of these ones. All the way down to here. So, yeah. Time to do that. It's gonna take a while. But we already knew that going into this. So, the annoying part about this one, honestly, is that I have to type out java.cli build. But the thing is, I can't just copy it because I'm going to have to copy other things during the process. It's going to be again annoying. What's this going to do different to IntelliJ IDEA for Minecraft modding? I will link you to my beloved FAQ, which I wrote out. But it's actually not on the FAQ because that's not what I did. But wait, I think it can just be 1 second. Let me try and get the cleanest link. That is the cleanest link I can find. That's basically the goals, at least for right now, but those can be extended later on. Okay, so the next one is break iterator. I don't know what this is. Computes the first sentence of the description in a documentation comment using an instance of java.text.breakIterator to detect sentence breaks. The rules that are used depend on the current locale. For example, in English, a sentence break occurs after a period, question mark, or exclamation mark followed by a space when the next word starts with a capital letter. This is meant to handle most abbreviations, such as the serial number is valid, but will not handle Mr. Smith. I see, okay. The option is enabled by default if the language of the current locale is not English. If the language of the current locale is English and the break iterator option is not given, A simple default algorithm is used which just looks for a period followed by a space. Interesting. Didn't know that was even a thing they had. In a traditional block comment or Javadoc block comment, search for the end of the first sentence is terminated by a HTML block tag. Yep. In a markdown comment, the search skips over any encounter. Interesting. Okay, but what does the... I don't understand what this option actually does. Oh, no, I get it. So it... Okay. Right, so by default... Okay. I think I get it. Hello, Kamal Singh. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so I think I get it. So I'm just going to call this then enable break iterator, which then does dash break iterator. Hi, I know some Python and C, but I can't convince myself to learn Java. It has a lot of boilerplate. What do I do? I honestly, you'll probably just have to find a way to convince yourself. The thing is, it kind of doesn't have that much boilerplate. Well, like it does, but it also doesn't at the same time. Like I understand when people say it does have boilerplate because certain things have a lot of boilerplate. I use things to mitigate the boilerplate. So, for example, instead of writing tons and tons of getters and setters, I will use something called Lombok, which I'm trying to find the best example. I actually don't have any data classes here that have getters and setters. I don't have any in here, do I? Where would I have an example of this? Probably in here. No. In here. No. In here. No? Wait, why am I not using... Okay, these should be using Lombok. I don't know why these aren't using Lombok. Oh, probably because it used to be a record. Okay. I'm not helping my point here, am I? I do use it somewhere. I thought I used it in a lot of places, but apparently I use it significantly less than I thought I did. Ah, okay, this will do. So, for example, this is a data class. So this is the equivalent of... I don't know if I can get IntelliJ to like, show me. No, I can't get IntelliJ to show me. But basically, this is the equivalent of this class being like this. Come on. Hello? Copilot? Can you... Yeah, okay. And also this. Not that one. This. And... I think it has these. I could be wrong, but I think it does do these as well. And then equals and hash code. Yeah, okay. So this is equivalent to this. I think this is much better. There's no boilerplate, right? There's absolutely zero boilerplate here. So I always try to use things to mitigate the boilerplate, of which there are many things that you can do that. Lombok is the main one. I just wanted to check that that hasn't actually changed that file. Hello, Aleatorio. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, I would just say, like... I don't know. You kind of have to just ignore the boilerplate, to be honest. It's not that bad. Like, you'll get used to it after not too long. I don't know. I guess I just personally don't really notice it because I'm so used to ignoring it. And I started with Java. I didn't start with Python or I kind of started with Python. I actually kind of started them at the exact same time, but I hate Python, so I didn't continue Python. Hello, Ukra Cross Plays. Welcome to the stream. But anyways, yeah, I guess my best advice is just you just have to get used to it. Like, there isn't much else to say. So yeah. Okay, the next one is Doclet. I'll bring it over so you guys can see. Actually, let's go in reader mode. Might make this a little bit easier to read. So here we go, Doclet. Okay, so it generates the output by using an alternative Doclet. I don't know what a Doclet is, though. What is a Doclet? Use to fully qualify. Okay, just Doclet. Okay, what is a Doclet? Does anyone know what a Doclet is? I'm gonna guess not, so I'm gonna ask Gemini what a Doclet is. What is a Doclet in relation to Java? Yeah. A Doclet in Java is a program written used to... Okay. Right. In essence, Javadoc uses the default Doclet to produce standard HTML documentation. Okay, that's what I thought Javadoc did in general. I didn't realize... Wait, so what does Javadoc do then? I thought this is what the Javadoc command actually did. No? Oh. Oh, okay. I see. I understand. So the Doclet is the process that converts it to HTML. But you can choose to use a different Doclet which would convert it to XML, or to plain text, or to a PDF. I see. That's actually kind of cool. To be fair, this is AI, it might not even be accurate. That's true, but generally, I say generally because this isn't always true, but generally, Gemini's pretty good at like knowing what is true and not true. I mean, I can do a quick Google search, I guess. What is a Java Doclet? Yes, it is true. Doclets are programs written in the Java programming language that use the Doclet API to specify the content and format of the output of the Javadoc tool. By default, Javadoc uses the standard Doclet, which gives you HTML. Yeah, so Gemini is actually correct in this circumstance. I tend to find Gemini is just better at like getting correct sources. I don't know if that is probably because it uses Google. Whereas OpenAI, I imagine, probably uses like I don't know, Bing or something. I don't know what else they would use. But yeah. So that's probably why. Why do you use Gemini instead of GPT? Well, it's funny you say that because I actually have a subscription to ChatGPT, and I don't have one to Gemini. I just prefer to use Gemini for research, and I prefer to use GPT for everything else, to be honest. I don't know. Gemini just seems to be better at research. As far as I know, ChatGPT doesn't do a web lookup at all. It can. You can, I don't know how you do it. Yeah, here you go. So you can do deep research, but you only have a limited number of them. So you can only do 25. I imagine the same is probably true with Gemini, though. Oh, you can also do a web search. Yeah. So if I search like, what are Java Doclets for? I imagine it will give me the same result. Yeah, basically the same one. I'd say Gemini's a little more concise as well. And then, to be fair, this does give you sources when you do that, which is nice. I don't know. I just prefer to use Gemini for, like, quick questions, because I also don't want to use all my ChatGPT tokens or, you know, a very quick question. But, I don't know. It's 50-50, really. It doesn't really make a difference, if we're being realistic. But anyways, next one. Yes, Doclet, of course. Okay. Doclet. I don't know, like, what do you actually put as the value? The thing I hate about ChatGPT is that it asks follow-up questions. Yeah. The thing with ChatGPT is it actually changes a lot. Like, the way it responds to you seems to change all the time. I think they're obviously constantly modifying it or something, because sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't do that, and then sometimes it, like, gaslights you a bunch. I don't know. I think they change it a lot, at least from what I can tell. But anyways, I think it's just the class name. It seems to be. Find any jar files it depends on. If starting class is a jar file, then the option specifies the password. Oh, it can contain multiple, interestingly. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. It would help to look at the right one, wouldn't it? Okay, use the fully qualified name. Yeah, okay, so it's just a fully qualified name. And then the next one is the doclet path. So that's what I was looking at. And then if I do an overload, okay. Overload, yeah, just takes in path, which is exactly the same as the other ones. That's fine. Okay, the next one is exclude. Oops. Which I don't know what exclude is. Oh, so it's a list of packages you want to exclude from being Java docked. Don't know why you would want to do that either, admittedly, but I guess maybe there's circumstances where you would do that. I don't know. I'm trying to think, is there any packages in Railroad I would want to be excluded from Java docs? I don't think so. I guess maybe if you had like internal specific implementations of things, then maybe you would exclude those from the Java docs just because they don't have documentation, I guess. I don't know. Exclude. We'll just do exclude. No, it really should be exclude packages. Let's do exclude packages. Yeah, and then join by comma or not. I don't know. It actually doesn't say. Oh no. Arguments are separated by colons. Colons? On all operating systems. That's interesting. Usually it's colon on... What is it? It's colon on Unix and then semicolon on Windows? Or is it the other way around? It's one of those. But yeah, usually... Interesting. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer to do the research myself. I get that AI is a wonderful tool that will make things easier, but I've seen so many people blindly trust wrong information from AI. Yeah, I kind of get what you mean. I think for me, it depends. It depends on the importance of the information I want, right? If something is like, yeah, if the information I want is very important, I will either A, get AI to give me the sources that it's using, or B, I will just Google it myself. But like, if it's not that important, if it's just like a, I don't know, just like a random thing I'm curious about, then I will just use AI, because I don't want to have to decipher Google when AI will just give me a straight response. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes I just Google things and then read the Gemini overview anyways, because that's just that tends to just be a lot easier than, you know. But then the Gemini overview isn't always correct either, so 50-50. Okay, the next one is expand requires. I don't know what this means. Instruct the JavaDoc tool to expand the set of modules to be documented. By default, only the modules explicitly given on the command line are documented. Supports the following values, and then proceeds to not list the values. I think that's because SpeedReader is breaking it. Is that correct? Am I correct in assuming that? Yes, I am correct in assuming that. SpeedReader was not showing me the actual values, which is always nice. Okay, so the next one, expand requires. So you can choose transitive or all. So transitive is when it... What does transitive mean? I always forget what transitive means. I don't know why. I know what it means, and I forget what it means, and then... Okay, this is a circumstance where Google is not helping me. Because the meanings Google gives me don't really make sense. So in this case, I'm going to ask Gemini and say, what does transitive mean in programming? And it will tell me that transitive is most often used in the context of relations or dependencies, describing a property where a relationship holds between A and B and also between B and C, and then it must hold between A and C. So it's a dependency on a library that your project needs, but is not directly listed by your project. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought it meant. So libraries your project needs, but isn't listed by your project's libraries. So yeah, basically, for example, that would be all of the dependencies of these dependencies. Those are the transitive dependencies, I think. I believe that is what it means. So I don't really know what to call this one. Expand requires. Instructs the JavaDoc tool to expand the set of modules to be documented. Right. So I will call the method expand requires. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have two methods. Expand requires transitive and then expand requires all. I think it's like this, isn't it? Like that, I think. Because it doesn't show. Yeah. I think that's correct. And requires all. Is it all by default? I'm guessing it's all by default. By default, only the modules given to the explicitly on the command line are documented. Okay. I see. Okay, next one is the help one, which nice and simple one this is. So help. That's it. That's a nice and simple one. Okay, next one is pretty similar, which is extra help. Which is you can do -X. Sure. I mean, this one could actually be -? I don't know which one's better. Yes, that's fine. Okay, next is the J flag. Passes flag directly to the JRE that runs the java.command. For example, if you must ensure the system sets aside 32 megabytes of memory in which to process the generated documentation, then you would call -J-XMX 32. Interesting. That's interesting. And really annoying because that makes me wonder, because basically that's saying it can do all of these, but I obviously don't want to have to just copy that and paste it. So I could make this an interface, but that's not necessarily ideal. I think I will just do... Yeah, I will just do J flag, and now I'm just going to make it take in a string. I think that's just easier. It doesn't need to be typed, realistically. Maybe eventually I'll make it so you can turn these, like a list of these, into a string, and then just put those in. That would be easier if I could do something like that. So later on, maybe I'll do something like that. And then we could just take in that kind of builder or whatever. Okay, so the next is the locale. So this could take in a string, or it could probably just take in a locale, right? Yeah, like that. Yeah, and that's fine. Okay, the next is package private and public. Or package private protected and public, which is basically what it chooses to show, right? I think I'm going to create an enum for that one. Public enum visibility. And then say public visibility, like that. I think that's the easiest way to do that one. Yeah, I kind of want to do the thing that Copilot suggested, which is to make these an enum. Should I do that? Is it gonna... Sure, that's fine, I guess. That would be easier if I can do that. And then just do expand requires, take in the expansion type. Yeah, that's a lot easier. Have you worked with IDEs before? No, I have not. I've never done anything with IDEs before. This is very much my first time doing anything IDE related. The most I've done before this is I tried to make an Eclipse plugin once, and it was a horrible experience. I highly don't recommend anyone does that if if you're curious, because Eclipse have no documentation. Well, they have a little bit, but like it's basically non-existent. So that was a horrible experience. I don't even remember what the plugin I made. I think it was to add syntax highlighting to something. Oh, yeah, it was to syntax highlight TOML files, because there were no plugins and no default support for TOML files. And it was getting on my nerves, so I decided I'll make one myself. Terrible idea. Honestly, building this IDE has has been simpler than building a friggin' plugin for Eclipse. I kid you not. That's how actually insane it is. But anyways, so let's do visibility like that. My first thought when I learned about this project was, why not a plugin? Yeah, I don't know why, but like, well, I guess I kind of know why. But the existing IDEs don't make plugins easy. At least not for like anything more than like an icon pack, you know? IntelliJ is a little bit better when it comes to that, because they do actually have documentation for a reasonable amount of things. But as I mentioned in the announcement video, there are many reasons apart from that why I'm not making a plugin, which I'm not going to go through right now. I'm getting a little bit lost here. What am I doing? Oh, okay, I see. I'm getting confused because there's a couple options that look very similar, and I don't really know. I feel like they are exactly the same thing. Like, I feel like this show members value is the same as doing dash private dash protected dash public dash package. I think it is. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. So dash private dash package dash protected dash public are for classes and members, and then show members is only for members, I think. And then there's also show types, which is only for the types. And then there's show packages, which is either exported or all. This is very weird. Okay, I think I can get it. And then there's also show module contents, which is the granularity of module declarations. Don't entirely know what that means. The good thing about this is that I don't actually have to know what any of these mean, which is great. I consider that a win. Even though I am actually learning quite a few things from these, but like, I don't have to. I'm just basically copying across the arguments and turning them into methods. But okay, this is going to take in a module granularity. Module content. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. So then that needs an enum. Module granularity, and then the granularity is either API or all, apparently, which is a bit weird, but sure. And then I'm going to want another one, which will be the package granularity, I guess. It's not necessarily the, well, kind of is, I guess. Which is either exported or all. It's weird having an enum for only 2 values, I will say, but a boolean doesn't really make sense, so I think it's fine. Yeah, and then show package content, which takes in that. That's not correct. No, that's actually show packages, which is that. Sure. Okay, and then we have show types. So public Java docs CLI builder, show type, takes in the visibility. And next we have Sub-packages. Generates documentation from source files in the specified packages and recursively in their sub-packages. This option is useful when adding new sub-packages to the source code because they are automatically included. Each package argument is any top-level sub-package such as Java, or fully qualified package such as javax.swing. Okay. Separated by colons on all operating systems. Okay. Basically just a list of packages then, I guess. Okay, that's fine. So sub packages, yeah. Nice. It knows what I'm looking for. Next is the one it keeps trying to do. Copilot is begging to do this one. That is verbose. That's literally it. That's not anything exciting. And it's probably going to want to do this one as well. Yep, but that's not correct. It's actually double dash. Apparently. Don't know why. It is. Is it going to know what the other one is? No, it doesn't. So the next one is W error. Okay. W in the chat. W error. It's literally called W error, by the way. Like literally W error. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's for. Reports an error if any warnings occur. I see. Report error on warnings. W error. Nice. The next one. Okay, we have a couple of the usuals. So we have add exports and add reads. I can copy that from in here. Add dash exports. Okay, so add exports and add reads. I'm going to copy. Thank you. And I'm going to paste. And I just need to change these to return the correct thing. That's okay. And I hope that is actually correct. I'm going to quickly have a look at the implementation details. So extra options. Yeah, those are fine. They're just the usual. Okay, the next one is patch module. I don't recall doing that in here. I think I'm going to do a check, but I don't... Oh, that is a thing I did. I didn't remember doing that one, but apparently I did do that one. That saves some time. Okay, the next one is max errors and max warns, which apparently are in Java C as well. So I'm going to have a look. Max errors, max warns. Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory, I'll be honest. It's just the maximum number of errors you can have and the maximum number of warns you can have. That should also be a thing. Thank you. But not what I was looking for. Max errors. And then, of course, max warns. Or max warnings, whatever. Is that correct, though? Yes. Okay, I don't know why they didn't just, like, add the extra 2 characters. Or whatever. Max warns, fine. Max errors, they really could have just made this. Errors. Whatever. Whatever, we'll go with that. That's all the Java C ones, and then the next ones are for standard doclets, of which there are lots. This is where it gets long. This is there's a lot. Like holy guacamole, those are a lot. Okay, so we have add script. I don't know what this one is. Let's have a look. So, as a file as an additional JavaScript file to the generated documentation. This option can be used one or more times to specify additional script files. Interesting. I see. That's pretty cool. So you can add... Yeah, that's pretty cool. So add script. I don't know what that is, for sure. So path, script path. I think it is just not quite. It is add dash script. This actually should take in a string though. So let's do script and go string, and then we can do. We will do that one in a second. Add script. Like that. Which will return. Or, yeah, it needs to do that and then it calls that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, next we have add style sheet. Apparently you can do add style sheets as well. Okay, why does it not want to do it now? There you go. It's not style sheet file though. It is dash add dash yeah, add dash style sheet. Okay, nice. This is just like that though. Don't know why. Because we're like that. Okay. Next is allow script in comments. Allow JavaScript in documentation comments and options whose value is HTML code. Oh, of course, because you can, when you do Java docs, you can add HTML. I don't know how you do it. Is it just like this? What does that do? Yeah, that does work. So if I did like E, does that actually work? Yeah, it does. I assume you can do, obviously this isn't how you're meant to do bold anymore, but I assume this does actually like, and does this do code blocks? Is it just full HTML? Yeah, it is. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I assume it even does images. It does. That's obviously not a valid image, but is that a thing? That is a thing. Look at that. That's pretty cool. It even has the alt text. Damn. That's kind of crazy. And does this still like work with... Yeah, it does. That's pretty sick. So presumably you can even add a script in here. I don't know what it's doing, but is that? I don't think that did anything, did it? Did it do anything? There's inline block, margin left 5 pixels. No, that didn't. I don't think that did anything. Unfortunately, that would be pretty sick if it did. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Okay, moving on. Public Java CLI builder, and it is allow script in comments. Nice. That's actually all that one is. Next is the author. Which includes the text of any author tags. Okay, I should rename this to include author tag. Next is the bottom. Dash bottom specifies the text to be placed at the bottom of each generated page. The text can contain HTML tags on white space, but when it does, the text must be enclosed in quotation marks. These escape characters. Interesting. So, text at bottom. Okay. I think it should be in quotation marks regardless, right? I don't know. I guess maybe not. Okay, next is char set, but haven't I already done that? I think I already did that. Or was that dash encoding? Yeah, it's dash encoding. Interesting. So char set is actually a separate thing. Char set. Hopefully it knows that I will want to do that. Yes, good. Okay, next is... Oh, I already did this one, and then I deleted it because, friggin', it said it wasn't used. Okay, but you can do dash D for destination. Destination directory. Nice. Doesn't need the toString call. Okay, the next is the doc encoding, which is the encoding of the generated HTML files. So, generated encoding. Okay. Then it is Java doc. It is the doc file subdirs. Enables deep copying of doc files directories. Oh, I see. So it copies like it copies like images and that kind of thing. Okay. Deep copy sub directories. Arguments that add deep. No, not correct. It's that one. Okay, next one is doc title. So document title. Okay. Next is exclude doc files subdir. Okay, which is lets you exclude from this basically. So exclude sub directory. I don't know if this can be... It uses commas, apparently. Was that correct? No. For historical reasons, colon can be used anywhere in the argument as a separator instead of comma. Oh, so it's either... I see. But we'll use comma. Yeah, also this is not correct. It needs to be like that. Okay, then we have footer. Yeah, footer text, nice. And then it is group, or we can do header, I guess, because that's the one afterwards. So then we can do group, which I don't know what this is. Group the specified packages or modules when documenting modular code. I see. Okay, which needs to be joined with commas. Then we have help file. So java help file name. Help file name, which is a string file name. And I guess we can do an overload for the path. And then we have HTML5. So public java.cli builder enable HTML5. Okay, then the next one is JavaFX. Enables JavaFX functionality. Don't really know what that means, to be honest, but sure. So enable JavaFX. Sure, whatever. Next is keywords, which is apparently for the meta. Alright, see you. I still don't know how to say your name. See you, Uracross. Uracross. I think I probably butchered that. I'm really bad with names, aren't I? Anyways, see ya. Okay, so the next one is, yeah, keywords, which is meta thing, apparently. So, keywords just takes in keywords like that. Is it true that this uses commas? It actually doesn't say, but I assume that is true. I would imagine. Next is link. Creates links to existing Javadoc documentation. I don't understand. What does this do? URL argument is the absolute or relative URL of the directory that contains the external Javadoc generated documentation. Interesting. Okay, so I can do link string URL, and then I could do javadoc link path URL path, which does file, and then URL path.toString, like that. Okay, the next one is link modularity mismatch. Specifies whether external documentation with wrong modularity, e.g. non-modular, blah, 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 be reported as a warning or just a message info. Default behavior is warning. Okay. Ugh. Sure. Enum link modularity mismatch, which is either warn or info, apparently. So warn info. Which just puts that in there. Link modularity mismatch. That is correct. Next is a link offline. Public javadoc CLI builder link offline, like that. Okay, there can just be any URL. So even though this is a string URL, it doesn't have is what it says. Oh, what's just happened? Okay, my entire PC just lagged for a second. I don't know what that was about. Oh, it can also be. That is actually correct. What that's put there. Funny enough. So the next one is the link platform properties of a string URL. Okay. Yeah, I think that's correct. And then the next one is link source. I don't know what this one does. Creates a HTML version of each source file with line numbers and links them from the standard HTML documentation. Interesting. Should link source. There's link source. Okay, perfect. Next one is the style sheet file, which it did want to do actually, funnily enough. But there you go. I've let you done it. I've let you do it, I should say. No comment is the next one. Suppresses the entire comment body, including the main description and all tags, and generate only declarations. Okay. No comment. Which is just no comment. Like that. Okay, the next one is no deprecated, which is just, yeah, as you would expect. And then there's no deprecated list as well. Yep, it's got that one as well. Nice. Next one is no fonts. But what does this one do? Prevents inclusion of font files. Interesting. Don't know why you would want that, but sure. No fonts. It's actually dash no fonts, but close enough. Public Java CLI builder. Next one is no help. Yep, that's correct. Then the next one is no index. The next one is no navbar. Next one is no platform links. So no platform links. This one is actually a dash, and there's also a dash between each of the words. This is very inconsistent, I will say. But here we are. Okay, the next one is no qualifier. And this takes in a string ... qualifiers. And are these joined by colons? Okay, they can be, but I'm going to use commas because I think that's better. Okay. Next is no since. No since, which basically gets rid of the because you can do @since in the Java docs. I think that just doesn't include that. Then we have no timestamp and no tree, which it keeps wanting to try and do. There you go. Okay, then we have override methods. So I'm going to create enum again for this one. Public enum method override handling. And the options are detail and summary. So detail, summary. And the default is detail, apparently. But there you go. Method override handling. That is actually just not correct. That is method or override methods. There you go. Okay, the next is overview, which is a specifies that the Java.tool should retrieve the content of the overview documentation from the file specified by the file name and place it on the overview page, which is overview summary.html. Okay, overview file, which once again will take in a path as an overload. Then we have serial warn, which reports compile time warnings for missing serial tags. Okay. So I will say report serial warning, which is just dash serial warn, like that. Okay, and then we have since release. Okay. So public java.builder since, which will take in a string release versions. And then I will create an overload, which allows for that to be, which will take in an int ... release versions. Okay, then we have since label, which takes in the label. Then we have snippet path. Besides the search path for finding files for external snippet. Don't know what this means. External snippets. I don't know. Snippet paths, which takes in a string path. Just do this. That does join with path separator. That one is actually correct, and this is not correct though. That is snippet dash path, and it is double dash though. So it was pretty close, but not quite there. Okay, next is source tab. I don't know what half of these are, by the way, guys. You may think I'm some magical genius typing all of these things out, but I don't know what any of these are. I am just honestly going through this, just going one by one. It gives me a very brief description of what each one is, so I kind of get it, like a few of them. But I don't entirely know what they're for. But, you know, it is what it is. I wish there was an easier way to do this. There's probably a way in which I could give this to, like, ChatGPT or something and get it to do it for me. I imagine that's actually probably entirely possible, but I think we're a little too deep now to go ahead and do that. So, I mean, maybe once we've finished this one, when we go on to the next command, which I don't know what the next one is. Let me have a quick look. The next one is Java P, which is, I don't remember what Java P is. Is that the disassembler? Yeah, it is. I admittedly don't remember what the disassembler does. Let me have a quick look. It it's used to get the information. Aha, yes, that's correct. So it gets the data about a class. So basically, like, the members of the class. Yes, okay, I remember this now. Yeah. Yeah, it does do that. Okay. That one will actually be very interesting. We're not... I don't know that we're going to use that one either, but maybe. I mean, it's very possible that we're going to end up using some of these in places we're not going to expect to use them. Or, even if we don't right now, it possibly opens us up to using them in places where we otherwise would have thought, fuck, that'd be hard to do. But this might allow us to do things that we otherwise didn't necessarily think was possible, which is pretty cool in a way. And so I think this is very much worth it. Even though it's a very long process, it will be worth it in the end. Okay, so yeah, the next one is snippet path. The next one is source tab, which is basically the number of spaces each tab uses. So spaces per tab. Nice. This is not correct, so that is just source tab. Source tab. Boom. Okay, next one is spec base URL. Specifies the base URL for relative URLs in @spec tags. I don't know what an @spec tag is. I never heard of that one. @spec. That is not a thing. Does it mean impulse spec? I don't know. I don't think so. Or maybe it's like one of these ones. Spec. Oh, I gotta kind of type. I don't know. Oh, there's the snippet one. What did that do? Nothing. What does this do? I'm curious. What does this do? That's horrible. Why would you ever do that? God damn. Anyways, that's interesting. I don't know what spec is. Spec base URL. Default value. I don't know. But it's a thing we have to add, so I guess I will just do what I think makes sense, which is the spec base URL. Yep, Copilot doesn't know what it is either. So it's -- spec - base - URL. Okay, then we have split index. Splits the index file into multiple files alphabetically, one per letter, plus a file for each index entries that start with non-alphabetical symbols. Should split index. Okay, next is syntax highlighting. Enable syntax highlighting for code fragments in snippet tags and pre-code elements. The snippets are Okay. So enable syntax highlighting. Don't know why you would ever disable that, I can't lie, but sure. Okay, next one is tag, which is like a custom tag, which requires a name, locations, header. I don't really know. String name, string locations, string header. And I will just do that and we'll move on because I don't know. Public Java doc taglet, which is a don't know. Moving on. Next is taglet path list. Yeah, which is like that. And then we're gonna have the overload. Okay, then we have top, which specifies the text to be placed at the top. So we can do top text. Nice. Then we can do use, which I don't know what this is. Creates class and package usage pages. Oh, okay. Create usage pages. Nice. Then we have version. Yeah, I thought we already did version, but this one's dash version. Includes the text of version tags. So, include version tags. Okay, and finally, we have window title, which has also been wanting to add for ages. So that's it for the standard doclet options, but there are some extra ones. Luckily for the extra ones, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're almost done with this one. It has taken us quite a while, but there isn't much left to do. So the next one is the date, which don't really know what this is. Specifies the value to be used to timestamp the generated pages. Specified value must be within the 10 years of the current date and time. What a weird arbitrary requirement. Is an error to specify both no timestamp and date. So it literally wants a date. Like, okay. Interesting. So we'll do... How are we even going to do this? It needs to be in a very specific format. So that's the format it needs to be in. Probably should validate it, right? Yeah, well, it needs to have a time as well. So then it's T. Okay, wait, this is confusing. I think it's hour, minute, second. But then afterwards it has a dash. Oh, maybe that's like a time zone? Dash, hour, minute. Okay. Like that. Yeah, I think that's correct. 'Cause, 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 'cause I'm gonna keep that comment there because otherwise I'm not gonna I'm not gonna remember it otherwise. So okay, and then we can also do the other one, which is date. We can do that. I was more so thinking we do a local date time. Okay. That might not be correct. To do handle time zones properly. I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do that. Must be within 10 years of current day. Nice. Okay. Yeah, see, that just automatically tries to do the time zone thing. I wanted to fix that. Okay. We'll come back to it at some point. Okay, next is... I mean, this is sure, technically. I guess that's a thing we can do. Sure, yeah, whatever. We don't want to keep doing that. Sure, fine, do that one as well. And then that's it. We're not doing any others. No, we're not doing any others. Okay, the next one is legal notices. So, legal notice. So it specifies the location from which to copy legal. Okay, there's 3 options for this one. So we can say default legal notices, which will do dash legal dash notices default. Then we have no legal notices, and then we have custom legal notices, which takes in the path. Okay, then we have no frames. I don't know what that is. It says it's no longer supported and reports a warning, but no. Right. I'm gonna put this one as deprecated. Okay, then we have xdoc_lint, which enables checks for problems. It enables recommended checks for problems in documentation comments. So public enable recommended checks. Yeah, not quite right. It tried, but not quite right. It's like that. Okay, then we need to do the other ones. Yeah, so that's probably something we want. And then we need a way to specify the specific ones that we want. Is that a thing you can do, or is that lying? I don't know. Doesn't really say, to be honest, but enable check. So that's just string checks, but I want it to be okay, sure, that works, I guess. Whatever. Is that how that works? Yes, that is how that works. Okay. And then finally we have the package related check stuff. So enable checks. No. That's not correct. So we can do string package name. Wait. Oh, I see. You can disable checks for a specific package, but you can't tell it what checks to disable. Interesting. Package name. So this, in that case, is a string ... packages, which is separated by a comma. Okay. And then we can also do disable checks like that. This is not quite right though, because that needs to be package. No, so it's like this. So slash package colon, and then this needs to be x.link slash package. No, not negative package. Needs to be negative, like that. I think that's correct. And then the final one, and then we're done. And then I think we'll probably end the stream. Is the root parent URL. So doc root parent URL, which is not correct. Yeah, fuck that one up. Okay. We are done. This one is almost at 1,000 lines. Wow. I think that is actually all of them. Let me just check though. There's no others like hiding further down or anything. No. That is it. Okay, so I think now we've done all that. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Yeah, and I think next week on Saturday we're gonna work on something a little bit more exciting than this. We're either gonna work on the plugin API, maybe, or I think we'll do the console window. I'm more inclined to do the console window because I think that's a bit more exciting and very important to get done. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end here. I know it's a little bit early, but isn't much we can do for the next one. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.